Okay, so now I've got a jar, and what I did is I blew a balloon up and kind of stretched it out, because once you blow them up, they stretch out real big. And then I took the balloon and I put my hands down and I tried to stretch it over the mouth of a jar, which is a little tight, but you'll notice that the balloon is sitting down in the jar just a little bit. If I try to push the balloon down in the jar more, I can try to do that, but man, it really grips onto my hand. It doesn't really want to go, and as soon as I let go, it comes back. Some of that you'd say, well, that's the elastic in the balloon. Yeah, that's true. When I grab the balloon and I try to pull it up, it does not want to pull up. It doesn't want to. Why? Well, it's the same thing that we've been talking about, some of this air pressure business. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and stick the jar onto the hot plate for a few minutes and see what happens if we were to heat the air, okay? And I don't want it to get too hot, and I don't want to break the jar because it's not really something that's designed to cook. But the heating element should heat up, and when it does, we might see a change in what goes on with our balloon. So I'm going to stop this now and let it heat up, and we'll come back and take a look at it in a minute. All right, so the air in the jar is starting to heat up. And as the air in the jar starts to heat up, we can see really clearly what's going on with our balloon. Earlier, I couldn't pull it out. If I tried to pull it out, it went straight back in. If I tried to push it down, it'd go right back up. But by heating the air in the jar, all of a sudden, my balloon is starting to stretch out and take a little bit more shape again. Now, I'm not going to create enough pressure in that jar with just the heat to stretch it out real tight like we were blowing a balloon up. But we'll certainly see that the balloon is rising, and that absolutely has to do with the pressure that's going on with the air that's in there. So what I'm going to do is, now that it's stretching out pretty good, I'm going to turn the oven back off. I don't need it to get too much hotter. I'm going to move the jar over to the cooler one. Now watch this. When I push down, it won't have any of it. It absolutely doesn't want that to happen. But as the air cools, and I would say that if I took the air over here, these are my helpers, by the way. They didn't want to be in the video, but that's Juliet and that's Katie. Oh, well, that water's colder than I thought, so that's going to break my jar. That's not what I wanted to happen. I was afraid of that, but I really thought a mason jar would hold up. Anyway, if we were to let that cool, then what we're going to see in a little bit is that that's going to go right back down, and that's just part of the project. So we'll see the balloon slowly go back down. If we could cool it a little quicker, and I really thought that mason jar might be able to handle the heat change a little bit, but I could tell by just getting it wet, it started to crack, so we're not going to do that. But that's an example of pressure and how it works.